Hello, Rufus Church. This is Pedro talking to you from the Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. I'm on my way back to Massachusetts. Um, I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about reflection and trust. Those things came up while I was here on my trip, and we showed the airport. There's people coming around, and when you go on a trip on a plane, you have to have trust because you're getting in a huge missile essentially and trusting that it's going to get shot up in the air from wherever you're taking off and land safely wherever it is that you hope to be. So, um, coming from there, let's talk about trust a little bit because I'm like, the way I look at things is, how to explain this? All right, so I tend to focus more on the spiritual side of life, and everything else I kind of see it is falling into that spiritual context. So I even think that our bodies and the way that we experience our bodies and stuff is a reflection of that spiritual context. So the first thing I'll point out is in life, you will never, from your physical perspective, you'll never see your own back. Now, that might sound kind of silly for me to say, you never see your own back, but have you ever thought about that? Have you ever thought that no matter what you do, there's no way you will ever see your own back? And what do we say when we want people to know that they can trust us? Well, we say, I got your back. I'm watching your back. I trust you can know that you can trust me because I'm watching your back because it's impossible for you to see your own back. And so we have a body that symbolizes its need for trust. It needs to trust someone. It needs to trust something. We can't make it through life without trusting. So here we are. We can't see our own backs. So I look at that and I think, well, God's pretty awesome because we created a situation where we have the trust, even if we don't want to. If we want to feel any kind of comfort, we have to believe that something has got our back. Whether it's a philosophy, whether it's an actual person, doesn't matter what it is, something has to watch our back. We can't make it through this life in a complete life without trust. The second point I want to talk about is reflection. We can't make it in this life without reflection. We can't grow without reflection. Well, check this out. You will never see your own face, ever. Right now, I'm looking at a video of myself, but that's not myself. It's a video representation of my face. But in reality, I'm never going to stand outside of my face and see my face three-dimensional. Everyone else is. So I will only see myself or my face in reflection. The same thing goes for your mind, your thoughts, your spiritual relationship. All of these things are nurtured through reflection. So here again, we have a body that's set up where we have to reflect to know ourselves better. We have to look and reflect, and we also have to look into the feedback that we get from the people that we trust to help us get a better reflection of ourselves. But it's only through reflection that we get to know ourselves. So again, we have a body set up for trust and for reflection. If we don't trust and if we don't reflect, we're not going to have a whole life. We're going to have something made up, a symbol of a life, but it's not going to be a real life unless we learn to trust and reflect. And then the last thing I want to talk about is when you don't come to that realization that you have to trust and that you also have to reflect, you come up with another alternative, which is projection. Because we can't see our own face, we tend to look out into the world trying to find ourselves, and we project onto other people trying to see ourselves. So a lot of times we'll say things about other people when it's actually us because we haven't learned to master reflection. So all we know how to do is project and see ourselves outside of ourselves. But we are called to look inward, to reflect inward, and to see ourselves and to help others see themselves, not to project, but rather, or if you are going to project, at least own your projection. But otherwise, we're going to be living a life, an empty life. An empty life where everything is outside of us. All our problems are outside of us. Every challenge is outside of us. Our salvation in the world is outside of us. But we've been called to look inward, that the kingdom is inward. You know, the kingdom it makes you feel uncomfortable for me to say kingdom. It's all through trust and reflection and not projection. Because as long as you're looking outside, you know what I mean? And as long as you don't understand that you have to trust people with your back, you know what you're going to do? You're going to stab other people in theirs. You're not even going to realize it. But every time you project, instead of reflecting on yourself, you end up stabbing people in the back. The only way out of it, my friends, is trust and reflection. So we all know how people are. No offense to people, I'm a person too. But when you're going to trust and when you're going to reflect, make sure that the ones you trust and the thoughts that you're reflecting on are about true life, about growth, about expansion, things like that. So anyway, I'm not going to just go on and on about this. I just wanted to put this out there because it's fresh in my mind. I was thinking about y'all, so I decided to just come out and share something that's on my mind. And if you have any questions, you can contact me through Ruthless Church blog, email, all that stuff's up there. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Comment on a post, I'll write back. But remember this: trust and reflection, not projection and stabbing people in the back. Hey, just putting it out there.